Now, when you started your job, I remember, when I get my first tech job, I was so nervous because not because I was incompetent or lack of confidence. I was nervous about my family. I was like, I made it for my wife, I made it for my kids. Am I going to be able to get this job? All my colleagues, they have years of experience and of IT degrees. So I have this imposter syndrome.
Mhm.
So did you feel that you have to work extremely hard to prove yourself? Did you feel pressure? Did you see the things that is so challenging that you couldn't solve? How was this first period, let's say first 30 days of your career in the company?
It was interesting. Okay, one thing is that in cybersecurity, it's so interesting to keep in mind that number one, imposter syndrome is always there, always. Like now I'm talking and I'm trying to think, okay, what else don't I know in cybersecurity? And there are so many things. So the imposter syndrome is there. That's always there. And you always have to prove yourself that you're capable of learning more. And that's a challenge, but it's also a beauty of this field, you know? It's sort of love and hate, situation. That's number one. Number two is in cybersecurity, what I know is there is nobody who knows everything. Literally, there is always somebody in the room who is smarter than you. That's the rule. So it keeps one humble, at the same time keeps one curious to find out who is that smarter one. I want to learn from that person. So my first 30 days were so interesting. I had such an interesting colleagues, the team, as I was mentioning, very supportive, genuine. I received such a wonderful welcoming. Uh, in the company, we have a rule when somebody new comes, everybody has to set at least 15 minutes one on one with that specific newbie in the company. It's so beautiful because you meet people from different departments and they're like, hey, welcome to the company. This is what I do, this is who I am. Don't be worried, that's going to be fine. Everybody had first couple of weeks of stress, but then you will get to know everything. Now I'm doing that. I was
To the
I was
newcomers.
receiving, I was receiving that one, but then now I'm doing that. And then I had everything explained, the entire architecture. I had, one-on-ones with my manager every twice a week just to share what challenges I have, and he would be sharing with me what issues we need to solve. And it wasn't like, oh, they throw you in the middle of the ocean and say, okay, now you swim, that's the coast. No, I was in a properly established boat in the lake first, and that took me through the river, and then now in the ocean. But it was such a good transition, such a nice explanation, and that goes into back into the philosophy and the mission of the company, where they treat you not as just another employee, but they treat you as an asset that can not only benefit uh, the people around, but also the company. And it's forward-looking philosophy. So it was again. I'm saying I just probably
S-
been so lucky.
Seems like they have very good onboarding process.
Yes, that's
Set you up for
correct.
success,
That's correct.
giving you all the tools and the support that you need to be successful, right? You can't throw the seeds to nowhere and expect those seeds to grow. I
Absolutely.
mean, you have to have the system, the temperature, the soil,
Yeah, water
the
from time to
humidity.
time.
It looks like your company provided that. But did you see that your technical experience that you've learned as a SOC analyst or the foundational skills that you have kind of was matching for the job that you were doing there? So you were quite comfortable, or you have to learn everything from scratch, or there's lots of new things that you have to learn?
I mean, as you mentioned, there are lots of new things that happen and appear every week, if not. every day. And because the philosophy of the company I'm working for is we are taking calculated risk and we want to improve our system. We want to improve our cybersecurity posture day in, day out. We want to make sure that we are providing the protection and defense for the PII of our customers and our organizers on a daily basis. We tried different new tools, but what helped me a lot is that logic behind that the logic I'm talking about. That's where I was shown, not only told, because I can read it myself, but I was shown how does that particular a packet goes through point A to point Z and then through the couple of servers and not being hacked because we have established this route and the transportation layer is secured. I was explained that logic, and because of that, any tool you can learn the tool. The learning of the tool is not as important as understanding the logic because uh, I mean nobody has yet created sharing electricity wirelessly. We still use the same wires. We
Sounds
still
terrible to me. Let's not do that.
exactly. So we're using the same logic, the same way. Physics has not changed.
Got it.
But you can have different cables, you can have colorful cables, you can have cables with flowers or without flowers, doesn't matter. You can have cables on air, you can have cables under the ground. So what I'm trying to say is as long as I have the logic, the rationale, how does it work? You can call it Canon, Nikon, Sony, Panasonic, doesn't matter what you call it. It's the same camera. It does the same thing, and that's the same logic.